Flawless is a Texas-based natural skincare line for all skin types, started by a Black woman named Bianca. After she graduated university, she had broken out with cystic acne, dry peeling irritated skin, and had scabs and scars all over her face. She tried different skincare methods and skincare lines for 3.5 years with no success. That's when she remembered the idea of Flawless that God gave her almost 4 years prior and started making her own natural soaps. The name Flawless came from the Bible verse, Song of Solomon, chapter 4, verse 7, which says, "You are altogether beautiful, my love. There is no flaw in you." Now, let me tell you, Flawless products have done the trick for me. I absolutely love that they have handcrafted products made in small batches to ensure the highest level of quality, and they're free of parabens, phthalates, and sodium lauryl sulfate. The slow-cured traditional cold process method used makes your skin look and feel flawless, baby, and who doesn't want that? So if you're looking for skincare products that are made with care using ingredients that you can trust, go to www.flawlessnaturalsoaps.com and use my referral code CANDY4JC, that's CANDIE, the number 4, and JC, to get 10% off all of your purchases over $10. Choose Flawless and be reminded just how beautiful you are in the eyes of God. You're listening to First Paso. Welcome to First Paso, a show where we learn together how to take that first paso toward becoming the best versions of ourselves. My name is Candace Olushala, and today's special guest is a clarity coach, a double TEDx speaker, and she's a fellow YouTuber. So without further ado, please welcome Rachel Smets. How are you doing? Welcome to my show.
Thank you so much for having me. It's a real pleasure to be here. So yeah, I'm excited.
Yes. So where are you right now? Because when we talked, you said you were in Australia right now.
Yeah. It's a good point that you say right now, because it changes all the time. So ask me again in 2 months and I'll be somewhere else around the world. I travel full time. So yes, I am now in Australia. I was in Portugal, in Europe a month ago, and I don't know where I'll be in 2 months, but yeah, I'm here for another 2 months. So that's where I am. Yeah, in Sydney, actually.
Okay, well, that's cool. You're going to have to unpack a little bit more about yourself, the fact that you travel regularly. Tell us more about what you do.
So what you said, it was correct. So I'm a clarity coach for mid-career professionals who find themselves on a crossroad, and they know that, they want to escape their job and they want more freedom. So they're stuck in a job, they're stuck in 9 to 5, and they feel like, well, there's got to be something better than this. And so we really figure out what that is and how you can actually monetize that. So turn your passion into income, and then go from there and have the freedom that you really want, because that's where I used to be. And I'll talk more about that so that it can help. And besides that, I'm every week on YouTube. I really put effort and time into making videos every week with steps and tips about how to escape your job and have more freedom. And and then I travel full time. I decided to travel more and more a few years ago, and it went from 2 weeks to a month to 2 months to 3 months. And I thought, wait a minute, I'm going to just sell my house, sell everything, and travel full time. So that's what I do.
That is so cool. You sold your house to do this full time.
Yeah, it was the last step. I thought, if I want freedom, and I want, I talk about freedom all the time. And for me, that was the one thing that helped me, like, kind of stuck. I already left my job and everything. And I thought, why the house if I'm never there? It's a big expense that I thought, we want to, have money and save money. And, I didn't need that expense. So, yeah.
Man, see, now I can't wait to unpack your story. Have you heard about Anchor? Well, it's one of the easiest ways to create a podcast. Not only is it 100% free, but it has a variety of creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or a computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast to other sites such as Spotify, Apple Podcast, and many others for you. And Anchor even allows you to make money from your podcast without a required minimum listenership. So whether you've been in the podcasting game for a long time or you're completely new to it, Anchor is so user-friendly that it's basically your one-stop shop for making a podcast. So what are you waiting for? Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. Rachel, take this time to unpack what for you would be your first Paso experience that you would want people to learn from. So what story for you would be that crucial first step?
Yeah, and that would definitely be me burning out in my corporate job, because I was working a 9 to 5 and I never liked it. I liked the money. I liked the benefits. I had a nice car. I had all these benefits, right? And a nice title and a nice status, and everybody was proud. And I was climbing, the corporate ladder, but I was climbing the wrong ladder, and I completely burned out because I was on the outside, ooh, I have everything, and on the inside, I was just so stressed, and I had chronic stomach aches and fatigue and just being moody and cranky, and I don't have to explain all of that, but the feeling was just horrible. And so I completely burned out, and that was the best thing that ever happened to me, because it made me stop and it made me look at myself. And so the first step for everyone I work with and everybody's who's there now stuck in a job and they want to be the better version of themselves, it's just stop and take a look at yourself. And I never did that before that moment. There I was, in my mid 30s, and I'm like, who am I and what does Rachel really want? And so I went into looking at that, and instead of what everybody else wants from me, I was looking at what I wanted. And so it really started with, what do I like? What is my passion? What is my purpose? I make a lot of videos on that, because that for me was the most difficult step. It's like figuring out what is it that I really want, because we have all these people around us and the environment telling us what to do, and we just follow the crowd. And it wasn't fulfilling me. It wasn't making me happy. And so I was, going in that, and at the same time, really reading a lot of books on self-development and really working on my mindset, about, why am I pleasing so many other people? I was 100%, perfectionist and people pleaser. And it just made me miserable, just saying yes to everything and everyone. And so I had to really find my own path and figure out what are my strengths and what are my talents and what is my passion. What is my mission? My mission was really to help other people, not to work for a boss, but to have freedom. My biggest value that came out of all of my search was freedom. And freedom means something different for everyone. It could be spending time with your family. It could be, maybe work a job that you like or have a career. For me, freedom was doing what I wanted, not work for a boss, do what I want, when I want, stop asking for permission to buy a pen, to like, and traveling came out of that. I didn't really know that beforehand. I mean, yes, I lived in many different countries abroad where I also had a job that I didn't like. But freedom was really doing what I wanted, when and where I wanted. And so that's when I started chasing that path.
Wow. That's a big step to make in your mid 30s, especially, with how society has us kind of thinking, okay, once you graduate college, or, if you finished high school and you go into trade school or whatever, you go in by your 20s, you should be in the workforce doing what you're supposed to be doing until you retire, and then you die. So,
well, yeah. But can I add to that, and this is a misconception that a lot of people have when I say, that let's get clarity on and turn your passion into income and turn your paycheck into purpose, those kind of, it does not happen overnight. And that's so important. Because that is the big fear that a lot of people have when they come to me like, but Rachel, I'm not ready to quit. Well, I'm not saying you have to quit tomorrow, Because of course I always say, like, we need money. I needed money. I couldn't just quit. I'm my sole provider. Like, we need money. So it's a journey. It doesn't have to be a long journey, but it's the figuring out what is it that you want to do? What can you monetize? And then let's go and take action to get there. And as soon as money is coming in, then you can start, that's what I did. I worked less and less and less hours in my corporate. I started building on my own business. It could be anything, whatever that is for you. I started coaching. I started doing YouTube. I wrote books. I sold my books. I sold, well, there's a lot of, videos I make about how I make money, but, I really went into that online world because for me, the online world was my future, because I wanted to travel and just have my laptop. So I started making money online. And so when I saw, like, okay, yeah, it's going somewhere, wasn't making much, but then I quit, not before.
Yeah, that's a difficult space, I think, for people when they realize that they want to quit, or they realize like they just can't do this anymore, but then to have the game plan to get out, or to not get so anxious that they just up and quit, and then they're just home going like, I don't have the next step. I'm just here at home now freaking out at my house versus freaking out at my job. And so I love that you decided to kind of do this transition of decreasing what was going on in the corporate world while you were increasing on your personal business. And then when it got to that space where it's like, okay, I think I'm in a space on my personal business side that leaving corporate won't feel so just like gut wrenching or jarring, that it makes those transitions so much easier. And it allows you time to even to discover more of what you want the business to look like, while also having the financial security to play around with that.
Absolutely.
So then when you finally took that step to leave corporate, you said that you left, you sold your house at some point too. So did that come right after too, or were you working at home for a while and then something made you decide after you'd left corporate for a bit that you were then going to sell your house? Or was that all one step together?
No way. I never advised to do that. I always, take my clients through, small steps, right? Even micro steps sometimes, and not at all. No, for me as well, like, everything goes gradually, it's a transition, and there is a lot of fear for every step. So you want to break down that fear, by taking just small actions, and every action is including some fear. But, when it's like, when you climb a mountain and you look at the top of the mountain, it's like, oh my gosh, I can't get to the top. But if you break it down into hills, it's like, okay, yeah, I can climb a hill, right? So that's how I did it, and I've actually been living abroad, like I mentioned before, for over 20 years. I always looked for a job, and I thought, if I have a job, I have money coming in, and then I can, stay there. So that's what I did, literally living there. Okay, register in the country and actually be a resident. So I did that. But then came a point when, when I left my corporate, I started kind of at the same time to travel a bit more. Like I said, I figured out that freedom was really my thing, and that I really liked traveling, and it really inspired me. And so when I figured out that I wanted that laptop lifestyle, that digital nomad lifestyle, I thought, okay, let's test the grounds. I never knew something 100%. You only know it when you test it. That's another thing I advise people. Like, if you have an idea, don't drop everything or invest in something heavily without even testing if it's actually, right for you. So, like I said, for me, I traveled, I went somewhere for 2 weeks, and then, and then a month, and then 2 months. And then I thought, I like this lifestyle a lot, and so I can do more of that. And then in a whole year, I was gone maybe 7-8 months, and then 10. And then I thought, okay, if I'm gone more than half of a year, then, let's try it full time. But that took me maybe 2 years or something before I decided to really go full time. And so that's when I decided to sell my house. It's only been a year and a half ago that I sold everything, and that I'm traveling full time, so no home base. So yeah, that was another big scary step, because but if you take small actions all the time, and you know that overcoming fear is actually opening up other opportunities, and if you realize that, and together with that, we can unpack that more if you want to, Candace, let me know. But the mindset is something that keeps me going. Like, learning how to overcome fears is that something we can talk about? Because that, together with the action, is the only way.
Unpack that.
So when I say mindset, it really helped me overcome fears, because I've been studying literally daily books and joined programs and investing in that. I started reading self-development books, on my own, but then I started joining programs and really, studying every day books that help me understand the power of the mind. And the power of the mind is really the only way to achieve what you want. And I say that with 100% certainty, because I was trying to figure out everything on my own and taking action and do. I'm a doer. I want results. I'm like an action taker. But I didn't have the right mindset, and nothing worked. And when I learned the power of the mind, that I can manifest anything that I want, that I can overcome any fear, that is what really helped me see results. And so, to make this practical, when it comes to fear, just to take that example, the moment I'm like, oh my God, where am I going to go? And what am I going to do? And what's going to happen? And what if I fail? And what if nobody buys my stuff? And what if I don't get any clients? And what if I don't get money coming in? And all of those thoughts kept me stuck. It just kept me stuck. And here I am in a job that I don't like. And so when I learned that all of these stories are in my mind and they keep me stuck, I also learned that I can change that. And I can say, instead of saying, oh, I'm stuck in this job and I don't like it and I don't like working for a boss, I was like, well, I really enjoy, traveling the world and making money online. And I wasn't doing that yet when I was still stuck in my job. But I was changing those stories in my mind. I was like, I love traveling, and I am an entrepreneur in my heart and soul, and I can make money online. And I am, I was testing, I was trying, I was figuring things out, I was learning, and the language in my mind, the stories in my mind changed. And that is when opportunities came, and when I attracted more people that are in that space, because I was opening up my mind to that, and I was changing the stories. And whenever I have fear, like even now, like, where am I going to be in 2 months? If I start questioning myself and doubting, like, oh, I don't have a place yet, and I don't know yet, and oh my gosh, and what if, and every time, Candace, I come into a new country, I don't know anything. I don't know anybody. I get lost. I seriously, but it's because I train myself, instead of thinking, oh no, what if something happens? And what if, and what if something bad happens? And what if, then I get scared. But I'm like, I'm fine. I'll be fine. I get lost. I'll find my way. I'm so used to doing this, and I immediately switch all the time from a fearful thought to like, I'm fine. I'll find my way. I'll meet people. I'll be fine. It will be, and boom, it happens. And I find a way, and I find a place. And it's just with everything I do, it's like, it's a constant shift. And that keeps me going.
Wow. That is powerful. And it's something that we don't take enough credit, or we underestimate the power of our mind.
Yes.
And our ability to change that internal record that plays over and over and over. Like we can remove the needle and put on a different record. Like we oftentimes don't realize it in the moment of that fear that bubbles up inside, and then you just feel so flustered to then go, wait a second.
Yeah,
I can literally choose any other song to play in my mind right now. Let's pick a different one. And I love that that's now like a habit for you now, to be like, as soon as you recognize it, you're like, we are shifting this repetitive thought process, and we're going to choose something else that's more positive and see what happens with that. Love that. That is beautiful. And so in this process of figuring these things out for you, how did you then transition into being a coach to do this? Like, how did you realize, like, I think I can coach people through this? Or were you coaching before? And then as you were learning, you just kept teaching what you were learning to your clients until you felt like you had a method?
Yeah, this the second thing that you mentioned, and I do make a note because I wanna say something about confidence and those stories as well afterwards. But yeah, that was my journey. So I had no idea I was going to be a coach, but when I was, figuring out, like you said, and finding like, hey, I'm actually a good communicator, and I'm actually, I'm helping people, and I want to help more people, and I want to support people. And then came the figuring out phase of what can I do, and what kind of business, what kind of coaching, what kind of to be honest with you, Candace, I remember that when I really decided, like, I want to go online. I'm just going back in time a little bit because it's a really good question. The very first thing I did was I joined. I invested in a program to. It's called B School from Marie Forleo, and so that's one thing I did while I was still in my corporate job. By the way, I knew, like, I need to get money online, and I need to start, something online. And so I joined that program, which is the online kind of, the online school of business. So that's what I did. And there I figured out, what kind of coach do I want to be? Who do I want to coach? And to be honest, I thought in the beginning, I wanted to coach expats because that's who I was. I was living abroad. I was, and I thought, hey, so I did that for more than a year, like trying to figure out, making posts on social media and, trying to talk to people and helping people in that end. And for some reason, it never really felt right. And it just never really took off. And again, that's why I always say, like, well, test it. And because I was still in corporate, I was fine. I still had money coming in, so I was just testing it and it was really frustrating because I thought, why is this not like her? Other people are really making money with coaching and I'm not. And, it wasn't really. And so then I thought, wait a minute, it's the wrong niche. And so anyway, so then I really started like, wait, the journey that I'm going through, those are the people I'm going to help, and those are the best people that I can help because I've been there. And so more and more I thought, okay, I'm taking steps, I'm leaving my job, and then, when I did leave my job and I could talk about that and talk about my burnout, and it just flowed, and the posts on social media flow, and my, ideas for YouTube started. And that's when people really came to me like, oh, I want that roadmap. I want that plan. I want to leave my job too and have more freedom. And so, yeah. But again, it's testing the waters and trying it out and see what works.
That is power. That's just so beautiful to me. As someone who's my audience knows, I left my 9 to 5 last August and was doing my own business. I had been doing my own business on the side since 2020, and that travel life and doing speaking and coaching and podcasting, and it was just so much more fulfilling than being in a pharmacy all day. And as much as I loved my patients, working as a pharmacist just really didn't fulfill me the way that doing what I do now does. And to take that step out of corporate, even when you don't want to be working, the concept of stepping out of the corporate realm in general, it's scary.
Yeah.
Right. And like trying to get that mindset shift that it's gonna be fine. It is something that you have to remind yourself. And at the end of the day, you can also say, okay, I'm gonna go try this. If it doesn't work, corporate's not going anywhere. So it's like, you don't have to go into it feeling if this doesn't work, the whole thing is just, it's just a crapshoot. I just messed up my whole life. No, you didn't. There's always things that we can do. And as we're going and we're learning, we get to share what we're learning on the journey with other people. And like you said, it inspires people in the transparency of the journey that they can do the same, or they can take those leaps of faith and try something and just to see, just to see. If anything, you have an opportunity to say, I went in and I tried that, and this is what I learned from it. So they I really I admire what you've done, and I'm learning too. I'm learning from what you're saying. I think that's just amazing, the things that you've done over these last few years, and the ways that it's showing up in your life, the results from those brave steps.
Can I touch on that one point? Because I really think this is important, and it's the concept of confidence. Because there are a lot of people who look at me now and probably look at you as well. And it's like, oh, you guys, you're so confident and it's so easy because you're so confident. And I really want to make clear that I had zero confidence. I used to be super shy, and I was so afraid of what other people think of me. And I was so afraid of speaking up. And I was, I ended up doing two TEDx talks, and I'm on YouTube every week, and I speak with a lot of confidence, and I speak on a stage. But that only came the last few years, because I really come from a whole lot of years with zero confidence and being very shy. And I am still an introvert. Let me make that clear too. I am an introvert, and that's fine. I love speaking, but it doesn't mean that you need to be an extrovert, because a lot of people think, oh, I'm an introvert, I will never be able to. Yes, of course you can. I love inspiring people, but I'm an introvert. And in the evenings, I like to be on my own, and leave me alone and let me just be with my laptop, and I enjoy my time alone. So the confidence really came with the shift of my mindset. And so if you're now watching or listening and thinking, yeah, that's all nice and glory, but I'm not that kind of person. Well, I didn't used to be. And literally an example that I often give is, when I was sitting somewhere or just walking down the street and people were looking at me and laughing, it ruined my day, because I thought, oh no, look at me, something's wrong with me. Here I am, I'm not looking good enough. And it ruined my day because I thought they were laughing and joking at me. When I was in a social gathering or something and somebody started laughing or just looking at me, I was like, what's wrong with me? Like, always, 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 until I learned again the power of the mind, which you said so well. It's such an underestimated tool that we have for free. I changed the story to, seeing people laugh and thinking, instead of thinking, oh, something's wrong with me and I'm not good enough. So I changed it into, well, they had a nice time last night and they're just talking about what happened last night, or, hey, they're just, whatever. And it never affects me anymore. And I'm like, whatever, and I really couldn't care less. I also learned to stop people pleasing. That was a big change for me, like saying no for the first time, instead of like, yeah, I'll come for coffee. Yeah, I'll do this. Yeah, I'll do that. I thought, and I shifted. I actually wrote a book on confidence because I interviewed a ton of successful people asking, like, how did you become, were you born confident? I thought that was the case, but it's not. Nobody's born with confidence. It's a skill. It's a muscle that we build by taking action, by facing those fears, by taking that power within. And so it's really something that I had to learn. And like I said, saying no to people, choosing, one of the big confidence hacks that helped me as well was choosing my tribe, selecting the people I want to hang with. At the moment that I was in my job and I knew I wanted to leave my job and start online and earn money online and all of that, the more I was hanging with those people in a job, it didn't help me because it kept me stuck. And those who were like, oh, come to my party and come to this. And I'm like, no, because every evening, every weekend, I was working to grow my business. I wanted to learn what it is about the video and the quality and the audio, and study and read books and write books. And I really, really spent time on that. And so I started surrounding myself with other online entrepreneurs. And that really, really made a big shift, and saying no to some people and losing a lot of people along the way, which is fine because they were not part of my future. And that was a big shift. So the people you hang with, either they keep you stuck or they help you and motivate you and get you growing. So I just want to put that out there because it was a big shift for me.
Thank you for that transparency, because you're right. A lot of people assume that, oh, people who talk on stage and they've made this big career shift and they're doing great things all over the world, they must be so confident. I mean, confidence comes over time. It's
Yeah.
definitely something that can be practiced. And to even add on to that, just from my experiences as also an introvert who loves to pour into people, sometimes it's not that the lack of confidence is not there. It's not that like it's not like I'm going in and I am not ever afraid anymore, or I'm never experiencing a moment where I'm not confident. But it's rather that I don't I don't want the fear or the lack of confidence to hinder me from doing the things that I really want to do. So despite the fear and the lack of
Mm,
confidence, I'll move anyway. Even if it takes
mm,
a bit to get myself to push through that barrier, I will do whatever I need to do to try to get to the space I'm trying to go.
mm.
And I try to show myself the grace in this in that season of not moving too. Like, not being mad at myself that I'm not moving, but rather like, you recognize that you're not moving, or you recognize that you're afraid of something, or you recognize that you don't have confidence in this area, but you're also actively working on pushing through that barrier. So don't beat yourself up right now for not moving, but rather celebrate yourself for trying to get the momentum to move. And that's part of the
Yeah.
practice too. That's part of the practice, to make that season of not moving shorter and shorter as you go on. But that takes an effort to want to break through that barrier. And you might need help doing that. Might take
Mm,
or someone to teach you
yeah.
how to do that. But that's possible, and you don't have to feel like you're always going to be afraid, or you're always going to lack confidence. There's moments where those things will be there, and you can teach yourself how to break through those sentiments.
Yeah. And I would add, when you mentioned, have a coach and work with a coach, that was what I needed. And it's what I resisted for a long time.
Mm,
But it's only when, because everything, yes, I was learning a lot on my own and I love doing it myself. Um, but it took forever. And I didn't see real results until I decided to hire a coach and get help. And it was hard because I really thought, wow, I can figure this out. I can do this on my own. But I didn't really see a lot of results. And so when I started hiring coach, and since then I've never been without a coach, and that is something that I had to learn and accept. Like, wait a minute, all these successful people and gurus, they all work with coaches. It's just we need that. We need someone who has walked the path before us, and tell us what to do. And so I've never stopped. The coaches that I work with change because I change, but that is exactly, and those are also the clients that I help. Like, I take them by the hand. I tell them, look, this is the map, this is your map, this is your guideline. Let's see, let's figure out what goes for you, because I've been there. And then like, oh, but I have fear of this. I know, I've been there. Look, do this. Okay, what's next? Okay, fine, do this. It's like every step of the way. And then that's why I call myself a clarity coach, because it's that give that clarity of each next step. Instead of when I was on my own, it's like, oh, but I need a website and I need this and I need an online course and I need a book and I need this and I need to be on social media everywhere. Like, and it just made me so overwhelmed. And it's that guidance it's definitely a great piece of advice.
Hey, Candace here. You might not know this, but I'm not only the host of this show. I am actually also a life coach. Okay, you might be thinking, seriously, Candace, who isn't a life coach these days, charging an arm and a leg for their services? I totally get it. I was right there with you before I had my own coach and started coaching myself. It almost made me sick to want to even call myself a life coach to begin with, until I realized that my specific style of coaching was actually quite different from the rest. When coaching with me, you don't feel like you're getting something that is copy-paste. You don't feel like you're not having a real conversation with a real human being. Every session is customized and tailor-made to the person that I'm talking with. We laugh, we cry, and we journey together every step of the way. But the most unique thing that I bring to the table is that I invite God into the space. That's right. I do faith-based life coaching for anyone of any age, in any tax bracket, and at any step in their spiritual walk with God. And even if you don't know God, but are curious about Him and why He'd be a crucial aspect for your breakthrough, I can coach you too. So, if you feel trapped living an unfulfilled life and are ready to shift your perception to break free of your shackled mindset, if you feel that now is the time to finally live the life you have always dreamt of living and are ready to do whatever it takes to make that your reality, if you are excited about the idea of living life as your whole self, free to step boldly into anything you were created to be, and if you are ready to embark on the journey to self-acceptance, complete fulfillment, joy, fearlessness, confidence, true love, and so much more, then head to www.candaceolushala.com to fill out the application form today for the possibility of us working together to reach your breakthrough to live your most fulfilled life for the rest of your life.
So out of your full experience, the different things that you've done to reach this space in your life, what would you want people to extrapolate? What, like, maybe 3 things that you would want people to extrapolate from this experience that they could implement in their lives today?
Okay, so 3 action steps. That's a great question. Let's see. First, I would say, first action, I'm going back to the very beginning that can help you when you're right now stuck in a job. And that is, make a list of the things that you like and the things that you don't like. At this moment, you're stuck, you want to figure out what you want to do. Start by looking at where you are, okay? So start by, I'm gonna actually write it down myself. So start by the awareness of an observation of where you are. So what are the things that you like and what are the things that you don't like? Having that awareness is so important, because how do you know where you will go if you don't know where you are? Okay, so I always compare myself with a Google map. It's like, you want to know the direction to your future, but if you don't set a destination, Google map can calculate the route, right? It can calculate the steps, because you need a destination, but you also need a starting point. So that's number 1. Number 2 would be to, I call it, figure out your sweet spot, and I have an exercise on that. But in a nutshell, it's really finding, writing down again, what are your strengths, your talents, your strengths, what you're good at, what are your passions, because that's different. Your passion is something that you love doing and that you could do all day, every day, but it might not bring you any money. You could love singing or dancing or cooking, but how is this going to monetize? And then your mission. So it's that sweet spot between your talents, your passion, and your mission. And the third thing I would say is tackle the fear, because fear is always going to come up. Fear of failure, fear of the unknown, fear of what other people are saying. And that is when, taking micro actions all the time. An analogy that I would like to bring is, imagine you're on a foggy beach. You're standing on the beach and you're looking into that fog, and you want to know what's behind that fog. And the only way to know is by taking one step. And every time you take one step, you get into that fog and something comes, and you see something different, and you take another step and you see again something different. But you cannot, and this is very important, figure everything out from the start. There is no way. Nobody can predict the future. The only way to predict the future is by you creating your future. And by understanding that, where you are now, if you feel stuck and miserable, where will you be 5 years from now? Do you want to be 5 years older and still miserable? Or do you want to start now taking some actions to actually uncover opportunities and test the grounds and make a change in your life? So I hope that helps.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you. Thank you so much, Rachel, for taking the time to unpack your story for us and to impart those words of wisdom that I think they are doable. It might take some time for some people, but even taking the step to start to think about those things is one step closer than you were a second ago when you were just freaking out about not liking your job. So I think that's amazing. Thank you so much for talking with us. How could people contact you or reach out to you if they wanted to learn more from you?
Yeah, thank you for asking. So if you can spell my name, Rachel Smets, Smets, then you can probably find me everywhere on social. I think the number one is go to my YouTube, just type in my name, Rachel Smets, and comment there and have a look at the videos. It's all free and it's a lot of advice there. My website is rachelsmets.com. And and Facebook, LinkedIn, just Rachel Smets, and there's contact places and messages everywhere. So I'd be happy to talk you through a plan that is right for you and the roadmap. So, but thank you for having me, Candice. Thank you. I really enjoyed this.
Absolutely. Thank you. So you guys, if you want to reach out to Rachel and talk with her more, check out her socials, her YouTube channel, her website. You can find more information on how to reach her there. Otherwise, thank you guys so much for listening to today's episode. If there are any other topics, any topics that you want covered in the future, any situations that you're going through that you want to discuss, just let me know. You can go to my website at www.firstpaso.com and submit those things there. Would love to hear from you guys. And let me know if you really resonated with this episode. We want to make sure that you guys are getting the tools that you're needing each step of the way. And I'm sure Rachel would love to hear how her advice has helped you. So thank you guys so much. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this episode with a friend if you really enjoyed it. Otherwise, take care, stay safe. Rachel, thank you so much again. And you guys, we'll talk soon. Bye.